Welcome to part 2 of my review and discussion of the Glock 20 SF full-size 10mm pistol. In part 1 we talked about the pistol itself, about some other offerings in 10mm that are currently available from Colt, Kimber, European American Armory, and of course the two Glock models that are offered, the 20 and the 29, and their variations. I also talked a little bit about the history of the 10mm cartridge, how it was developed by Jeff Cooper along with Norma, and how the Bren 10 was the first pistol to shoot the 10mm cartridge. We talked a little bit about how it was popularized on the TV show Miami Vice, along with the Galco shoulder holster, which is now known as the Miami Classic. So in this part, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about 10mm ammunition, and then just a brief little discussion on some modifications and upgrades that you can do to really get the most out of your 10mm pistol, which in this case is the Glock. So we talked about the practice ammo, which is the BVAC, Bitterroot Valley, just basic 10mm practice ammo, 180 grain FMJ. Seems to be of pretty good quality. This is not a full power 10mm load. This is probably in a stock barrel in this configuration. I doubt that it's much more than 1100 feet per second. Of course, I haven't measured it. I haven't chronoed it. But gets the job done. It helps break the pistol in, and the brass case ammo is reloadable, so we can keep this and reload it, because 10mm ammo, unfortunately, one of the drawbacks is that it's expensive. Okay, now the whole point of getting a 10mm ammo is the ballistics. It's the power. This is when it's loaded to its full potential. It's quite a powerful handgun load. Supposed to be right up there, close to the 41 Magnum in terms of power when it's loaded to its full potential. So I got one box of Buffalo Bore. This is one of the ammunition companies that's known for creating full power 10mm loads. Some of the other well-known ones are Double Tap, and there are some smaller ones that we talked about in the first video as well. So this is 180 grain jacketed hollow point. That's considered a full power 10mm load. The light loads pretty much duplicate 40 Smith & Wesson, and the medium loads, like the Winchester 175 grain silver tips, give you adequate power for self-defense, home defense. Not sure if you want to carry a gun this big, but if it were me, I would not use this as a concealed carry pistol with hot ammunition like the Buffalo Bore. I think it's just a little too hot for concealed carry, but I mean, you could certainly do it, but you do run the risk of over-penetration. Especially, we talked about how these bullets are not the greatest in terms of what's currently available, like the Winchester Ranger Ts, the Federal HSTs, Golden Sabers, Spear Gold Dots. But anyways, that constitutes the full power, and then there's a whole range anywhere from the light FBI loads all the way up to the Wildcats that are, some have claimed that they run up to 2,000 feet per second. I'm not sure if that's really true or not. Okay, now I've been told, not just by other people on YouTube, but actually on the Buffalo Bore website itself, does recommend that if you're going to be using full power 10mm ammunition, that it's not a bad idea to go ahead and put in a stiffer, stronger guide rod spring assembly. And in this case, I got the upgraded guide rod from Glockmeister. As you can see, it's a 22-pound spring. The factory pressure is 17 pounds. And they say that with the full power 10 millimeter loads, that to get the full velocity and to make the gun more reliable, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and put in a 22 or 24 pound spring. So I did that. What you want to do is use this for your full power loads. You know, if you're hunting or at the range and you want to shoot the hot 10 millimeter loads, to go ahead and use something like this. And then if you're going to go back to the regular, the light or medium strength loads, then you can go ahead and put the stock plastic Glock recoil spring assembly back in. Okay, and I believe the reason for this is when you have those really powerful loads, that the slide velocity is so fast that I guess that's what can cause problems with reliability if you keep the stock spring in there. But I'm no gun expert. That's what I've heard and that's what I've read. All right, so as you probably know, the 10 millimeter is quite well known as a hunting sidearm. If you get 10 millimeter hot full power ammunition, you can take up to medium-sized game from what I've seen and what I've read. There's a video on YouTube. It's got a lot of hits where this one guy's got one camera in his hand and he's got his Glock 20 in the other, and he takes down a hog with one shot. It doesn't look like the most humane kill, but it does drop the animal. And according to what he said, he was using a 135 grain Corbon bullet. Now, if you're going to be hunting with this pistol, a lot of people strongly recommend that you get an extended 6-inch barrel. As you know, with ballistics, the longer the barrel, the faster the bullet comes out, and of course, the greater the energy. And the longer the bullet stays in the barrel, that does help accuracy as well. And I don't hunt currently. I'd like to try it someday. It's not just for hunting, but if you want to get the full potential out of this gun and you want to get the velocity numbers that are posted on these boxes and maybe even faster than what you see on here, then the 6-inch barrel comes in really handy. And of course, you know me, I couldn't resist. I did go ahead and order an aftermarket 6-inch barrel. In this case, this is made by Storm Lake. It's made in the US. And it is the 6-inch barrel. And of course, with these aftermarket barrels, you can go ahead and shoot ammunition that you're not really supposed to shoot in a factory Glock, such as the lead bullets and things like that. Usually I get lone wolf barrels. That's what I have for my 2 other conversion barrels in my other Glocks. But I was kind of getting tired of lone wolf in terms of how rough the surface here is, where they have that wolf logo that's etched in. It's quite rough, and it's kind of a little cheesy looking. I mean, it's their product. They have every right to put their little symbol on there, but this one's kind of nice. This one's made in the U.S. Storm Lake. I believe they're in Tennessee. And it's nice and smooth. It's got the little insignia right here that's etched in, but it's not as egregious as the lone wolf, and it feels a lot better. It doesn't snag like that rough micro etching on the lone wolf. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here, and I'll show you guys what it looks like with a 6-inch hunting barrel. Okay, so of course, as with any Glock, you want to make sure the weapon's safe. First thing to do is remove the magazine. Take a look inside, make sure there's no round in the chamber. We're good there. You do have to dry fire it in a safe direction. Okay. Pull back the slide about a 1/4 inch or so. Take down the takedown tabs. Pull down the takedown tabs, and let's get rid of the stock factory spring here. Well, you know what? I'm just going to keep this in here for now. Let's just get the barrel out and put this aftermarket barrel in there, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay. Put our recoil spring back in there. Make sure it's nice and snug. Reassemble the slide onto the frame. And there we go. Alright. It does stick out quite a bit. Definitely not something you could conceal, but that's not really what it's built for. This is built for getting the maximum velocity and the maximum energy out of your 10mm ammunition. And of course, that translates to, of course, more fun at the range, a faster bullet, but more importantly, more energy for a quicker, more humane kill if you use this for hunting. So if you're going to use the Glock 20 or any other 10mm pistol for hunting, it's probably not a bad idea to get a longer aftermarket hunting barrel. Okay. Now, if you're using the Delta Elite, it does have a 5-inch barrel, as any other government size 1911 does, so you might be okay there. But with this 4.6-inch stock barrel on the Glock 20, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and get this one, so you get a little bit more pop, more velocity, and a stronger bullet, okay? Stronger ammunition. So that's pretty much it for part 2. We kind of talked about the 3 different types of ammo, the light FBI loads, which are, you know, if you're going to shoot that, you might as well shoot 40 Smith & Wesson. Medium strength loads, like the Winchester silver tips, and I have that on the way. I ordered 200 rounds of those. They were pretty decently priced, so those are coming. And I trust Winchester. You know, that silver tip is designed to expand. It's a self-defense round. So if I ever want to use this for home defense, that's what I'll be putting in there. And then, of course, we talked about the full-strength, full-house loads, such as the Buffalo Bore and the double tap and things like that. So you've got a wide range. That's what a lot of people like the 10mm, because you have so much flexibility. You can use it as a target gun. It's not the cheapest thing to use for a target gun, but you can, and all the way up to a powerful hunting gun with these modifications that we talked about. You know, the barrel and the 22-pound recoil spring. So that's part 2, and I guess in the next part, it's time to put this thing in action. I'm going to take it to the range. I'll shoot my regular practice ammo that I have here, the Bitterroot Valley, and I'll take a few rounds of the Buffalo Bore. It's kind of expensive, so I'm not going to shoot the whole thing, but we'll shoot a few rounds, and we'll note the difference in recoil and muzzle blast and things like that. So please stay tuned for part 3, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.